When you talk to people about this running scheme, the Shanahan sort of base running scheme, why is it so much different than everybody else's? What do they do so well?
You and Young Birds 365 Football Friday. Niners and Eagles coming up on Sunday at the Linc. We're going to talk mostly with our next guest, but he covers the whole league now, so we're going to hit a whole bunch of topics with him. Yes, as I said to him in the text I sent him last night, you can take the boy out of Philly, but you can't take Philly out of the boy. He may be living down there in Florida, although you'd never know because he's got a hoodie on. Well, you're in Florida. What the hell are you wearing a sweatshirt for, Maaddi?
I'm getting ready for my trip back to Philly this weekend. What's the weather like up north?
It's still hot, still humid,
okay.
Rob.
Right,
still
so
humid.
I can leave the sweatshirt here.
Yeah,
you can leave it. You can leave it there. Indian summer. That's it. It's good to see you, Rob. I was hoping to see you in Atlanta. I was looking for you. How is Florida? First of all, how was the move? How's the new gig at the Associated Press?
Man, it's good. It's been busy. We've been working hard. You move in. I didn't know what goes into moving. I've never moved this far before. I've always bounced around South Jersey, but when you move from New Jersey to Florida, there's so much stuff, man. We're still unpacking boxes. It's probably going to be like this for another few months, but it's cool. You know, I'm looking outside right now. This is my view in the morning.
Damn.
There we go.
I don't know if you can see that. So
yeah, no, very nice.
Not bad. So having fun. But you know what? It rains a lot down here. It rains a lot in this time of year. So I'm looking for. I have not been away from Philly this long continuously in my life. It's been about 49 days. So,
wow.
He's a homeboy. Well,
yes,
we want to ask you about your homeboy squad, even though you're not here every single day. As I said just last segment on the show, it doesn't stop Rob Maaddi from being involved because I hear you ask a question on every Eagles media availability, and they give you props and you question every single time. How impressed were you with what the Birds showed week one?
Man, extremely impressed, guys. I did not think they were going to go out there and dominate the way they did. The offensive line was incredible. The defensive line controlled the line of scrimmage. And to be able to hold Matt Ryan and that offense, although they're not what Matt Ryan was in his MVP years, but the 2 field goals and 6 points, I thought was very, very impressive. The offense, Jalen Hurts, complete command, control, ability to move the ball. They put up 32 points. This is people will look at it and go, well, you beat a bad team. I'd rather dominate a bad team than barely beat a bad team. So it tells me that maybe I had the Eagles at 7 wins this year, maybe, and I'm not ready after one game to automatically change that to 10 or 11. But they seem to be on the right track, and they can make progress from here.
Rob, you and I have heard a lot of coaches over the years talk about the players and how you have to accentuate the strengths of your players, mask as many deficiencies as possible, got to be malleable to the talent you have. That's a good first step for Nick Sirianni. He really schemed up Jalen Hurts. We're talking about 52% all offseason. Can you get that accuracy up? Week one is 77%. Not a lot of air yardage. So my question to you is this sustainable? Obviously, the adjustments are going to start this week.
Yeah, and now the San Francisco 49ers, who present a more formidable defense than Atlanta, although they're banged up in the secondary, they have some film on what the Eagles and Nick Sirianni look like, what they look like offensively, schematically, what they want to do, how they do it, how they attack. We didn't see anything from the preseason. Teams didn't have any film on the Eagles in the preseason. So now the adjustments are going to have to come in. But we heard from Nick and from all the guys who he coached with and players that he coached earlier throughout the offseason say he's a player's coach. He's a guy who's going to help you learn. He's going to teach you before he tells you what to do. He said that my system is catered around the strengths and of the skill sets of my players, and we saw exactly that in week 1. Is it sustainable? I would like to think that he will continue to be that kind of coach, a guy who's going to go in and week out and game plan. Because guys, you know this, you can have one way you like, one philosophy, one offensive system, and then this week, maybe against a different opponent, you got to do things differently. Sometimes you got to run the ball more, depending on what the defense gives you. Sometimes you're going to take some more shots downfield. Sometimes you're going to have different ways that you can attack a defense based on who they are and what they like to do. And I think Nick Sirianni is a coach who will try to do that from week in to week out.
There was some debate about that as to which was dictating. Was it the defense dictating to the Falcons, or the Falcons playing into the Eagles' defensive hands? Arthur Smith was this very highly respected head coach hire because he had done such a good job in Tennessee as their offense coordinator. I think John called him lost in the first hour of the show, and I would tend to agree. He looked lost on the sidelines and calling those games. How much credit should Jonathan Gannon and that Eagle defense get for basically taking the Falcons out of anything that they wanted to do?
I think you got to give him a lot of credit, because you still have a quarterback in Matt Ryan who last year had although it was a down year for the whole team, he was very efficient. Calvin Ridley's a solid receiver, and I thought Kyle Pitts would have a monster debut, and I thought he'd be in the 8 to 10 catch range and certainly near 100 yards, and the Eagles were able to effectively take him out of the game. So I'm looking at the way they were able to approach and attack the Falcons aggressively, and they didn't have to blitz. He didn't have to do all kinds of different things like that. And they got pressure up front. And that's where the Eagles are going to dominate, with that pressure up front. And they're able to rotate. They're deep. That defensive line is deep. And I love having fresh legs in the fourth quarter, because you're going up against offensive linemen who've been out there for 4 quarters. They don't get plays off like a defensive lineman do. Those guys rotate. The offense is out there the whole game, and I love that the Eagles have enough depth up front that they can do that. So I thought that was a major first step for the Eagles and defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon.
Rob, did you get any, Jody brought up Arthur Smith, did you get any 2016 vibes? If you go back to 2016 and, Adam Gase was the hot candidate, the Eagles tried to hire Ben McAdoo. All of a sudden they had to settle for Doug Peterson. I put that in quotations. We fast forward to 2021, this coaching carousel. Arthur Smith was the hot guy. If it wasn't Arthur Smith, it was Robert Saleh. The Eagles got a late start. They managed to get interviews with these guys, but they were already deep in negotiations, and they were already, the die was cast where they were going. Eagles wait. They pick a guy who not a lot of people outside the league knew. Any of those same vibes this time around?
Oh, yeah, for sure. And that's why I caution everyone, don't get so overly excited. Hey, enjoy the win. It was a great win. It was a dominant win. And now you got the San Francisco 49ers coming up, because if we look back at 2016, Doug Peterson and Carson Wentz started 3-0 that year. And the third win was destroying the Pittsburgh Steelers. I believe it was 34.
Yeah, that was
right.
Yeah.
So they go 3-0, and then they go into a bye, come back off a bye. They lose a little momentum, go to Detroit and lose that game. And Slay gets the first Carson Wentz interception. If you remember, Ryan Matthews has a fumble in that one. So we've seen hot starts before. I don't know that it gets any better than a 3-0 September and the way Carson played in that month. So I think we can slow down on putting the Eagles in the NFC playoffs and winning the East Division. Right now, it's a terrific first win. It's an awesome start. And the one thing that I feel is different, though, about this team than that one is that at least here you've had guys, a good mix of veterans who've won, the Jason Kelsey's, Brandon Brooks, Lane Johnson's, Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham's, guys like that, Rodney McLeod, who's coming back hopefully in a couple weeks, guys who've won, and then younger players, the Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, Miles Sanders, who are hungry to get there. And I think there's really good leadership on this team. And man, I've wanted to see what Jalen can do under center for a full season. And it looks like we're going to really get that opportunity. And I'm excited for him going forward.
Rob, after the Eagle game ended, at least on the CBS affiliate or the Fox affiliate up here, they jumped over to the Lions and the 49ers. I had been following the score and knew when Deebo Samuel scored a 79-yard touchdown midway through the third, it put the Niners up by 28 points. And now here go the Lions driving because they just converted an onside kick and they score. They're going to get another onside kick. It's one score, 8 points. And finally, the 49ers fell on the onside kick and the game was over. But the Lions did rally to get within that one score. The 49er defense just take their foot off the throttle. Is it maybe not as good as advertised that they let the Lions get back into the game? We've digested and broken down the Eagles' first game as much as we can. What do you make of the Lions? A win is a win is a win, but it was a win that you shouldn't have had to sweat, and you weren't sweating at the end of the game if you were a Niner fan.
Yeah, it's one of those victories for the 49ers that you come out of it with a little bit of a bad taste because you were outscored 23-3 to finish the game. You still get the W. You don't even get the cover for those who bet because they care about that stuff. But you come out of that game with a W and you lost 20. You were outscored towards the end there. Yeah, I do think a little bit of that, Jody. You get up by 28 points. And you take a little bit of the foot off the gas, and the same energy level is not there. But then you got to give a little bit of credit to Dan Campbell and the Lions for getting his team to continue to, you always say, oh, we're going to play for all 4 quarters and it's a 60-minute game and it's not over. And well, for them, it wasn't. And they kept coming back and they kept coming back. And how rare is it nowadays that teams actually convert on a onside kick? So that'll help those percentage points for those numbers. But and the Niners also had some injuries defensively, losing a linebacker, losing Jason Verrett and the cornerback, who I think is going to be a big loss for them, and that'll show up this week. So this is a tough, formidable defense, but it's not one that the Eagles cannot have success against. So I'm really interested in the chess match, what it's going to look like, because you're going against an offense that schematically does so many different things, and you're going to have to be so disciplined defensively. But then on the other side, how's Nick Sirianni going to attack a defense that now's got some injuries? The secondary certainly looks uncertain. What's Josh Norman have left at his age, coming back, signing a couple weeks ago, and then Kirkpatrick signing this week? So I think there's going to be opportunities to attack that secondary, and we may see some shots deep downfield this week that we didn't see week 1 against Atlanta.
Hey, Rob, I want to ask you about the 49ers running scheme, their running game, because it's so impressive. But before I get to that, you mentioned Rodney McLeod. I know you had him on your AP Pro Football podcast. By the way, you recently had Eli Manning as well, so people should go check that out. But Rodney, obviously coming back about right at that 9-month mark, coming off the torn ACL, which I believe happened December 13th last year. Getting closer. What was the timing of that interview? You said a couple weeks. I don't expect to see Rodney this week. Is that your feeling as well?
Yeah, John. I sat down with him last week, towards the end of last week, and my thinking, and he's going week to week, day to day. That's how he's going out there getting ready. I kind of feel like we probably won't see him before week 3. That might be the earliest that we see him. Now, it's going to be determined by the doctors and how they feel. But like you said, 9 months out from an ACL injury, that's usually right around the time you see guys starting to come back. And then how much are they going to, when you're playing that position at safety and he's like their last line of defense back there. I know he's been able to go out there and practice, and he's had another ACL injury before, so he knows what it takes. He understands his body, the knee, the rehab process, everything. But you got to be ready. You got to be 100% or as close to it as possible when he gets back out there. So I wouldn't anticipate us seeing Rodney McLeod until at least next week, but maybe even a little bit longer than that. Maybe the end, week 4 or early October. I'd hold him out. If I'm the Eagles, I'd hold him out until maybe you look at the first week of October.
John, you wanted to ask him about the Broncos, the 49ers running scheme?
Schematically, yeah, we got to talk, Rob, with Javon Hargrave yesterday, and Javon was really effusive in his praise. He's not the only one for Kyle Shanahan's running scheme. It seems like Raheem Mostert out, as we know. All of a sudden, they throw a rookie 6th-round pick. You can go all the way back to his dad, Mike Shanahan, and Alex Gibbs in Denver. It was like anybody could run for 100 yards behind the Denver Broncos. When you talk to people about this running scheme, the Shanahan sort of base running scheme, why is it so much different than everybody else's? What do they do so well?
A lot of movement. And the variations that he has off certain plays, how many different, you see a lot of guys going in motion and all of those pre-snap movement that the Niners have. I don't know why teams haven't been able, guys, to just sit down, dissect that, figure that out defensively, analytically, look at it and go, all right, wait, there's no giveaways in the tendencies when they may run a certain formation and then not hand the ball off to that's do it 2 plays in a row or 3 plays in a row. And it may look the same, but somebody else is they're going to do something different with it. So I think that's key. Like you said, when you have anybody who can step in there, Elijah Mitchell last week steps in, rookie, 6th-round pick, 100+ yards. Like I kind of feel like, remember Ernest Jackson had 1,000 yards one year for Buddy Ryan. Before Buddy Ryan got there and he cut him, he goes, yeah, you give him the ball 1,000 times, he's going to get 1,000 yards. So let's go find Ernest Jackson and plug him into this 49ers offense and see how many yards he can get rushing for Kyle Shanahan.
I actually thought that was Heath Sherman who they gave it to 1,000 yards.
He got 35 carries for, I'll never forget it, 35 carries for 87 yards. Rich Kotite gave him against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 91 when they had the defense that was best across the board. And Jeff Fiegels fumbled a punt. They lose to Vinny Testaverde. Like I was in high school and I had to like stay for detention and write like 1,000-word essay or something crazy. So I started breaking down that game. I guess I was destined to be a sports writer. I'll never forget that game.
I was on WIP the day after that game, and yes,
Brad
I just try and break it down for the Eagle fans who wanted to hear nothing about it. All right, before we let you go, Rob, now that you're the national guy, if the Eagles win handily over the Falcons wasn't the most surprising game in the NFL week number 1, the Green Bay Packers beatdown at the hands of the New Orleans Saints was for me. I actually thought the Saints were taking a step back without Drew Brees. I like the fact that they gave Jameis the job just because I don't like Taysom Hill a little bit as a starting quarterback, but damn, Jameis looked great, and Aaron Rodgers looked like old man Father Time had caught up with him real fast. Don't know if it's that or just all the drama. Which was it more of? I'm sure it's a combination of the two. Underrated Saints, overrated Packers.
I think the Saints are a little bit underrated, but Aaron Rodgers, I mean, that shocked me, Jody. That game, I was excited about that one, sitting there getting ready to watch that, and he looked like a guy who spent the offseason hosting Jeopardy and contemplating retirement. That's exactly what he looked like because he was completely lost out there. And the Saints, I thought they would take a steep drop after losing Drew Brees. But it looks like, and this is only one game, but it looks like Jameis Winston stepped in there and had an incredible performance, 5 touchdowns on less than 150 yards passing. And it was a phenomenal performance for the Saints. I don't think, and the Green Bay Packers have the perfect opponent to get right this week, the Detroit Lions on a Monday Night Football game. And that might be a beat down the opposite direction. I don't think the Packers are going to be written off after 1 week. I thought it was interesting, though, afterwards when LaFleur says this is embarrassing, and maybe there's still some lingering resentment and issues because when they present Aaron with that and they say, yeah, your coach said it was embarrassing, and he's like, well, I would just say, he can say that. I would just say it's one game, and we move on from that. So I think there's a lot of leftover from the tumultuous offseason, and I would anticipate that the Packers will get right back on track. I had them as my Super Bowl team coming out of the NFC.
Well, it's a good division. They're going to have time to get right. And what do you think? The NFC North 0-1. I think everybody All 4 lost week 1. A lot of people talk about the AFC South. What do you think the worst division is in football? Could the NFC East be usurped for the worst division in football?
The NFC North, outside of Green Bay, may give the NFC East a run for being the worst division. But as long as Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers are there, I still think they're a double-digit win team, whereas the NFC East will only have, I believe, only one team will get to 10, and that'll be Dallas. And then the other, to me, the East will be 7-10. Bottom team 7, top team 10, and they'll all be fighting it out in December. But hey, Washington and New York offensively, the Giants on Thursday Night Football, they moved the ball. And I was impressed with Daniel Jones against a tough defensive front. His ability to move the ball, like the offense actually looked like they had a few more, some more creativity with the Giants offense, and they should have won that game. Darius Slayton catches that deep ball. They should win that game. They don't go offside. They should win that game. And I'm not just saying that because I had the Giants on the money line.
All right, Mr. Moneyline, since it is a football Friday and we've got your board, you got to tell us, are the Eagles coming out of the game against the 49ers 1-1 or 2-0 and still in sole possession of first place in the NFC East?
Hey, I was wrong week 1. I had them losing to the Atlanta Falcons. So I'm going to continue down that and hope I'm wrong every week. This week, I'm still going to take the Niners. I like odd scores. I'm going to go 22-20 49ers. I just think that this team is a real. A lot of people like the Niners as they were not a popular Super Bowl pick, but somewhat fashionable. And I thought, hey, when you have an unsettled situation at quarterback, I don't think you could be a Super Bowl team. But this is a team 2 years removed from being in a Super Bowl. They were devastated by injuries last year, and most of their guys are healthy. Now they got some secondary issues. Now they got a linebacker injury that they have to overcome. But I still think they're too good. And if the Eagles can win this one, man, they can make me a believer. But right now, I still think the 49ers will find a way to pull it out 22-20.
So you said you were coming back up. Was this to cover the Eagle game on Sunday, or are you finally getting the last of your you-know-what out of Jersey and down to Florida?
No, I'm coming up there. I still got 6 Eagles games I'm going to cover this year, so you're going to see me a lot down at the Linc, and I'll be hopping on those Zoom calls when I can and making an appearance in person. So excited about that, John.
All right, I will see you there, Rob. They're practicing at Lincoln Financial Field, so.
Beautiful.
Too bad you couldn't get up early. We could have watched practice like old times.
Maaddi, man, thank you much. We will be in touch plenty during the season. That's Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press here with us on Birds 365. All right, J-Mac, you and I need to make our official predictions on the game. I'm going to go first just because I changed my mind here after listening to Rob Maaddi.
Yeah.
If you'll remember, last week on Friday, we had Ed Kratz here as our final guest picker, give us a score. And Ed Kratz went 23-20 Eagles. And I said, this is going to sound boring, but I got it written down here on my sheet right here. 23-20 Eagles. So Ed Kratz and I both agreed on the score, and Ed Kratz and I were both right. Not really on the closeness of the game, but we had the Eagles winning. I was going to say 23-20 again, but I was leaning toward the 49ers. But since Rob Maaddi went 22-20, and last week I agreed with our guest picker right at the end of the
20.
show.
All right.
I am doing the same exact thing again. I am going to agree with Rob Maaddi, and that way if you take an Eagles plus the 3 points, actually a winner, I will take 22-20 San Francisco 49ers.
All right. Well, here's where you made your mistake, Jody. You should have let me go first, because then you would have realized you shouldn't have picked the San Francisco 49ers because I'm picking the San Francisco 49ers. So, yeah, I have the 49ers winning 26-21. In the similar vein. I just think they have more playmakers, more proven playmakers. I think it's going to get back to more of a typical NFL game like last night, one score. But one score means it can tilt either way. So I'm not saying the Eagles don't have a chance, but they just have more proven guys on both sides of the football. Defensively, maybe not as much with Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox, but certainly offensively, They've been doing it a little bit longer. And I do think you have that sort of human nature aspect of everybody patting you on the back. As much as the Eagles and Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts have talked about being very focused, they have a lot of young playmakers, and I'm not sure everybody's going to be so focused as maybe other players.
All right, so Rob Maaddi picked the 49ers in a close game. I picked the 49ers in a close game. John McMullen picks the 49ers in a close game. I'm going to get out of here early. I don't want to stick around and have to deal with the stream because they're not going to be happy with us. But that's what you got to do. You got to pick the way the game's.
You got to be honest.
Right.
I got it wrong. I got it wrong in week one, just like
Johnny
Rob
was
Maaddi.
on the Falcons last
wrong
week.
In week two.
He may be wrong again, which would mean me and Rob are wrong too, but we shall see. We'll all take our medicine if the Eagles are victorious on Monday. All right, I do have to exit. States left a little early today. Jeff Curran's going to hop in, do the last segment with Johnny Mack. Keep it right here on Birds.